It's the Ricochet Effect. Ricochet Effect.
Greetings, I'm Dr. Abini El-Amin, and I'm with
Terry Dunford.
And we are your co-hosts for the Ricochet Effect.
It's the Ricochet Effect. Ricochet Effect. Ricochet Effect. Ricochet.
Greetings all. Welcome back to a wonderful edition of the Ricochet Effect podcast with the Honorable Denotra Spruill Gunther, who is one of our judges here in the Fayette County District Court, 1st Division. She was born at Fort Gordon, Georgia, and raised in Augusta, Georgia by the late CSM retired Irvin Lee Spruill and late Helen Josephine Spruill. She attended Glen Hills High School and was a starting member of the varsity basketball team, track and field team, and the award-winning cheerleading squad. How do you do all that?
Okay.
You're playing basketball, cheer, run over to the sidelines, cheer some more. That's awesome. She graduated from the University of South Carolina with a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism, Public Relations, and Advertising. She also graduated from the University of Kentucky College of Law, now the J. David Rosenberg College of Law, graduating in May of 1996 and admitted to the Kentucky Bar that October. She began her legal career as staff attorney for the Honorable Gary Payne, who was a judge at the Fayette County Circuit Court, the first African-American on the Fayette County Judiciary, and on December 9, 2021, appointed by Governor Andy Beshear to the Fayette District Court Division I to complete the unexpired term of retired Judge, the Honorable Joe Bouvier, and in November 2022 was elected to a full term. She serves on the District Judges Education Committee and Kentucky Bar Association Annual Convention Planning Committee and Public Service Project Subcommittee. She has co-created the Eviction Diversion Program and oversees the Assisted Outpatient Treatment Court. And from fall of 2002 to spring 2024, she served as an adjunct instructor at the Gatton School of Business and Economics at the University of Kentucky, and also served as an adjunct instructor at the J. David Rosenberg College of Law. I'm very happy to say that she's also an illustrious member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and mother to an adult son, Gabriel. Well, welcome, Judge. How are you doing today?
Thank you.
It's so wonderful to have you in studio at the Ricochet Effect podcast. This is a podcast that is focused on bringing community voice into this atmosphere and also really trying to ensure that we capture the people in our community that are doing really great things to elevate who we are, what we stand for, and where we're going in the future. And certainly you are a visionary. So tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got here, and even maybe where you're going.
How I got here was through my spouse, who was military himself. He was being recruited by companies, and opportunity came. He resigned his commission. He was an officer, resigned his commission, and we moved here. But he had to tell me that there was a law school here because I also worked for the Department of Defense as a civilian at the time. And I said, if I'm going to leave my job, I want to be able to go back to school. We had a 9-month-old at the time. And so he drove me by the law school at 3 o'clock in the morning when we arrived in Lexington from Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And I applied and got accepted for the very next fall. So
that is wonderful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Good to see you.
It's good to see you, Terry.
Welcome. Yes. I often visit your courtrooms in different capacities.
Yes.
It's good to see you in this light. And this question is going to sound a little odd just based on the seat that you sit in, but I'm sure you'll be able to handle it. So my question is, what is the most exciting or rewarding part of the work that you do?
Believe it or not, educating people about the system. There is a mistrust about the legal system in general, particularly with our community, the Black community. And so educating people about the system is rewarding to me because most times I see a lot of people without attorneys. So they don't understand how the system works. They've heard, Sammy Joe up the street told them that this is how it works. I want to be able to educate them so that they can then educate someone. I want them feeling better walking out of that courtroom than they did walking into the courtroom. So that is really rewarding to me because I can shed a better light, a more realistic light on the process and, of course, my profession.
Yeah, I have to say, just walking into the courtroom, you and a couple of other judges, just seeing you ladies there of hue, but then not only just be there, but be there in purpose. Like, we've had a couple young men that, like, I just love the fact that you factor in the whole person and not just this isolated incident. And then you guys try to pour into them. You a judge, you a mother, auntie, a whole just array of people in one sitting. And the first time I was able to witness that, I really appreciated that. Because a lot of time, I know when I was young, I wasn't in trouble a lot as a youth. I wasn't in juvenile courts. I kind of skipped that part and went straight to the major leagues. But, it was appreciated. So I just wanted to make sure I said that.
And believe it or not, I just had a young man who's still in my court, but he came in last week and said that he appreciated because I talked to them on his level using the language that he understands. You have to meet people where they are.
Yes, ma'am. In
order to, get the result that you're seeking.
Wow, and I too thank you for the work that you have done in public service. It cannot always be easy, but you do it every single day, and you do it with a smile. And it's interesting. I was a cheerleader at Kentucky State University as well, and I still carry that kind of persona with me everywhere I go. In fact, a lot of people look to me in leadership to cheer them on. Whether it's through good or in bad times. And so I'm really inspired by the way that, based on what Terry has said, how you even able to mentor and coach people in probably some of the worst times of their lives, quite frankly. So with that being said, what challenges have you faced in your journey? And how have you overcome that? And I want to offer just a little bit more context. This time last year, WKY and Project Ricochet, we facilitated the Women of Distinction program. And it was a series of 13 podcasts that we ran in 2024. And it was really wonderful to hear about so many journeys of women in our community that are making great strides and truly making an impact. And so many of those stories really did talk about how they overcame to be the wonderful women that they are today. And so we would like to hear from you also. How have you been able to overcome some of the obstacles in your life? So mentor us, coach us.
I can honestly say that my obstacles probably are not what other people's obstacles have been. I honestly had a wonderful childhood. I was raised in a 2-parent home. My father was career military. He loved his country even when his country didn't love him back. And that was instilled in me. But at the same time, so in my home, my parents uplifted me. They told me I could be and do anything that I wanted to be and do. There wasn't any gender distinction between me and my brothers as far as, in fact, I would say that my father probably pushed me to do things more than he did my brothers. But outside of the home, I was born and raised in the 60s in Augusta, Georgia. Take that how you may. So there was some difficulties, even though my parents told me that I could do and be anything that I wanted to be. That wasn't necessarily what I got, possibly, when I went to school. I remember distinctly that we had to take an elective class in high school. I wanted to take shop. My father worked on cars in his spare time. He made sure his girls knew how to change a tire. knew how to do just certain things for themselves, and I wanted to take shop. I was told that I couldn't take shop, that I needed to take home ec. I needed to take home ec, or I needed to take family living, where home ec, you learn how to cook. Well, my mother taught me how to cook at home. I didn't, and she taught me how to cook with seasoning at home, so I didn't need to take home ec. I didn't want to learn how to sew. That literally was what home ec was at the time. Family living was how to be a parent. Like, you would have to take a baby doll home and parent that baby and do all of those things. Well, that wasn't flying in my house. My father and mother said she doesn't need to learn how to be a parent. She'll cross that bridge when she gets there. So I had those types of struggles, wanting to do what I wanted to do regarding education, having dreams and telling my guidance counselor that these are my dreams, and not being supported necessarily in that initially. But I didn't let that deter me, because I had parents who were like, and my mother never finished high school. Okay, my father was drafted into the military a week after his high school graduation. So things were limited for them, but they had enough life experiences and were able to experience things around them, with my father being in the military, and we're traveling places, that they were able to encourage their children to do whatever it was that they wanted to do. College, no college, whatever. Just be happy, be productive, and live a life that's respected and respectable.
Whew, there was a lot there, but I appreciate that. Thank you. Just going back into the courtroom, what role do you feel like community partners play in achieving your goals, or should play? Because I know right now, sometimes community partners may not be allowed in the courtrooms.
Are you talking in the juvenile court?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we're going to talk about we're going to be very specific to the juvenile court.
Okay.
It is a confidential court because children in the state of Kentucky, it is a confidential system. We even use different language to talk about children. Children are not arrested. They're taken into custody. Children don't plead guilty. They just admit that they've committed an offense. They don't have a trial. They have an adjudication hearing. We use a whole different language because we don't want the stigma attached to a child, and that is a person who is under the age of 18 in Kentucky.
I like that.
Then in the juvenile system, you can't just, it's not open to the public. Although there have been movements to try to make it open to the public, we still want to protect a juvenile to the extent possible, because once you turn 18, that record is not open for public consumption. And we don't want that to happen, because you don't want something to follow a juvenile for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
But there are instances where you can obviously obtain permission from the juvenile and his parents, from the court, to be in that courtroom. And we do that with community partners because, of course, we need resources and programs, can't have enough of them, that are geared toward particular segments, particular crimes or public offenses, as they're called. They're not called crimes for juvenile. They're called public offenses, even though it's the same statute.
Absolutely.
That an adult is charged with. But we want community partners in the courtroom, because you're not going to put a juvenile in jail and keep them there. Juvenile court is about treatment and rehabilitation. You cannot do that without programs.
I like it.
So, this is the spice of life right here, because Terry, with Voyage Movement and One Lexington, you are a program provider for juvenile court here in Fayette County. And so break it down for us. What does that program entail, or what do both of those programs entail? And then how are we partnering with the courts in order to impact our children in a positive way?
Okay. I can't speak too in depth with One Lexington. I'm not the director, and they do programming that's different than ours. I'll just speak on behalf of the Voyage Movement. I'm more familiar. We've created several different programs for youth and young adults to be able to take advantage of. So I think I sent you an email and it kind of gave you a brief overview of some of those programs. So one of them would be, we just recently created a mentor umbrella called Brotherhood of Peace, Sisterhood of Love. So, of course, we're dealing with both genders, but it's gender friendly. So if a female comes in and she signs up, a young lady like Tanya who just left here, she would get that referral and her team would see who best fits this young lady. Same on the other side. We have a few men on the Brotherhood of Peace that would come in and mentor a young man, and it would be specific to that young man. Because they go from there, then they may go into Edutainment University, which is a program where we teach youth how to express themselves through arts, music, and other means, right? If they don't go into that, they can go into our youth work program that we still building out, where these youth can get a job, but it won't be a traditional job if they're working directly with our organization. We have jobs like you have to go and do elderly assistance. So we'll have someone go, you will be assigned to elderly in the community, and then you will go and assist them taking out trash, cleaning up, running to the grocery store, but you have someone there with you doing this work. Of course, shoveling the snow, and in the spring we'll be doing lawn care and stuff like that. So those are the jobs we can control. And then based on your age, we can actually take you in, fill out the application. You can have a more traditional job, and then there's another program, and I'll stop with this one, Exposure Camp. And this is where, like tonight, I got about 6 youth. This is going to be their first night. They're going to 454 Fitness. It's going to be their first night. It's kind of boxing and training. A couple of these guys were in the courts, and then a couple of them, their parents just signed them up for it. We pay for that first month, and then we try to partner with One Lexington or 405 Fitness to continue that mentoring, that training. So those are some of the programs that we offer. Of course, it needs way more support, way more funding, but we're able to offer some of these programs at our cost because we got awarded a grant through Cities United that allows us to do that. So we're trying to find more grants, more funding, more support to be able to keep these programs going, especially the ones that have a monetary exchange attached to it.
Because we want to incentivize the staff, but also, of course, the youth. And that's one of the issues, right? So if we're trying to keep young people off the streets and in productive lifestyle alternatives, then we have to ask ourselves, what is the reason why a youth would carjack or to steal something? It's because maybe they need resources or they want resources. And so as a society, we have to provide those viable paths for them to be resourced. And so then from both of you, then how are we working together with maybe your courtroom, right? Because every judge, they have kind of like their own ecosystem of community partners that they work with. And so break it down for us. How are you guys working together in order to impact our youth in our community?
Well, first of all, we all use the same programs, resources. That would be the Voyage Movement. That would be One Lexington or OMAC, Operation Making a Change. It could be POW. I've sent people to the Police Activity League. My thing is I try to reward children. If you do what we're asking you to do, then we're going to reward you with something you want. So it could be one child, I want to learn how to box. Well, we're going to get you into boxing. Or it could be a female. Well, I like to play basketball. Well, have you ever been to a game? No. Well, we're going to find you tickets to go to a game. It's just you have to reward children to let them know, I just don't care about you and resolving this case. I care about you and your future. I want you to be a productive human being. You hear me say that all the time. When you walk out of here, I want you to be productive. I don't want to see you back here. And that means sometimes you've got to show them a different way. You have to show them that there is something else out there than the peer pressure to do things that will have a stain on their life for the rest of it if it's the wrong influence.
It's just taking advantage of opportunities. I know last week a mother asked me to come in and sit in for her son's hearing, and during the course of that hearing, like the judge was going to lock him up. like it was just leaning that way. Everybody could tell it shifted, and you can just tell. And the mother was like, "Well, hold on, Mr. Dunford is here. Can you allow him to speak?"
Was that my court? Was that me?
No, it was.
Okay, you don't have to say who it was. Was it me?
No, it wasn't. But speaking to you, so she gave it a referral, and then I think the probation officer reached out. I didn't know who the judge was. They didn't say, but when we just spoke, I know who it was now. But I spoke on behalf of this young man, and the judge was like, "Well, you know what? You lucky Mr. Dunford is here." He went through his spiel, right? But also, when I'm there, I don't just talk to that parent who asked me to come. I stand up out there, and I'll be like, "Listen," and I talk to all the parents. All y'all sitting in here, y'all not speaking to each other, y'all not communicating, y'all all have the same issue. Y'all kids keep dragging y'all in here. What are the solutions? Quit coming in here and being singular and not trying to communicate. So I'll be in the holding court out in the
holding court in the court.
Yeah,
well, but you know what? Let me just say this about Terry. What he doesn't do is he doesn't come in and say, well, he made a mistake. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He calls a spade a spade. He says they did wrong. But these are the steps that we can take. Judge, give him an opportunity. Let me work with him. And because I know that he is not sugarcoating it for these kids, and that he's going to tell them he's going to tell it like it is. He's going to give his testimony. He's going to say, this is how you're going to end up. I don't want children thinking, because I have somebody in my corner, they're going to co-sign everything I'm doing. I've never done anything wrong, because unfortunately, a lot of times parents do not accept or admit that their children have done some wrong things.
I agree.
And so we have that problem.
Sometimes, Judge, sending them away for 30 days may change their life. I'm not one of those who thinks jail is not, it saved my life. But this young man in particular, so he gets out, his mom calls me to speak to him. He gets on the phone. Yeah, what's up, man? I'm like, hey, who you think you talking to? I'm not one of your homeboys. Like, let's straighten it. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah, let's get it together. I'm not playing. Like, don't address me like that, brother. We're not doing that. And he got himself together, and then he was like, okay, yeah, like, we're not doing that. Because the only reason why you out is because I spoke on your behalf. Don't speak to me like that. And I'm going to see him tonight. I can't wait to see him. But it's just setting the tone, setting the expectation, and then most of these kids, they're going to rise to it. But they have to know you serious, and they say a thing, your audio has to match your video, meaning you got to be who you say you are. So many times they see these mentors, and they know these guys are stealing, mingling, and they're like, bro, you just gave my partners. So you have to be who you say you are. Like, that's one of the things that's tough out here right now, dealing with people who want to be mentors.
But sometimes it's the first time that anybody's had any expectations of these juveniles, of this youth. They just never had any expectations. They've never been told they can do something. They've never been told that they can achieve something. And they've never been told, sit up, act like you're going someplace, dress appropriately. And so when I have sent people, told juveniles well, I want to get a job. Oh, okay, really? Well, there's an open interview at this place at this time. And I don't just stop there. Now, when you go to that interview, look them in the eye. Tell them why you want the job. Dress like you're going someplace. You don't have to put on a suit, but I need you to have on a belt and have on a crisp shirt, clean. Act like you want this job so that they will take a chance on you. So there's never been, a lot of times, expectations.
Absolutely.
Sometimes youth don't know that they can achieve because they don't see it. If they see it, they can be it.
Yeah, look, a couple of things are coming up for me. One, I always say words and deeds. And so in terms of if you're going to be a mentor, then your words must match your deeds and vice versa. And then also you had said earlier, Judge, that one of the things that has always inspired you is just this knowledge that everyone deserves representation. And so, Terry, what you are providing as a community partner and a mentor is advocacy. And, so it's like for me, I'm sitting here and I can just visualize all these parents that are sitting in this courtroom and are sharing in this experience, becoming advocates for not just their own children, but also other children in the community or other parents that are going through a similar situation. And so that's one of the reasons why we're having these conversations more and more, because it's very clear that we are really starting to work and talk in a stream of consciousness that is leading to, what do I always say, stronger together Kentucky. Because what we know is that we are not going to be able to solve these big issues by ourselves in our courtroom, in our community-based organizations at the University of Kentucky. It's going to take everybody in this community to solve these issues and to really elevate our children.
Every person deserves to have somebody who's in their corner, who invests in them, the time, the effort, the love. Everybody deserves that. I don't care who you are, what you look like, or what you've done. There are no throwaways in this world. Everybody deserves a good life. And there is always tomorrow. I say every day in the courtroom, if somebody, messes up, I don't expect perfection. I expect progression. So if there's 2 steps back, I expect to see 1 step forward, because no one is perfect. And as long as we see you trying to move forward, we know that it's going to take time. It's no different than when someone is addicted to drugs. There may be 5 times that they have to go to rehab before it sticks. And it may not stick, or it may stick for 30 days, and the next time it might stick for 60. It is the progression of life. Everything is linear. You might see a little bit of a boop up, but it's not a straight, it's not necessarily
a straight line.
And so we want people to understand that there's somebody in juvenile court that cares about them.
So what advice would you give to other organizations that are willing to work with the courts or with you? And it's like we need as many people to understand that if we're going to reduce youth violence, youth gun violence, gang violence, or even adult violence, domestic violence, what have you, it is that we have to have a community-based front in doing that. And there are community partners out here, but again, it's what will it take for us to work with you or the courts?
Well, there are a lot of good people out there with good ideas who want to make an impact, want to help. But I say to them, know your who, your why, and your how. Who is your demographic that you're trying to help? Why are you trying to help them? Because that's going to lead to your how. Because you need resources. You need the resources to fund whatever programming, treatment, whatever that is. You've got to be able to articulate and quantify what efforts and resources you need from outside sources. And that means you're going to have to quantify the who and the why. And so, there's a lot of duplication of efforts out here. There's a lot of overlap. I wish that there was a network where we say this organization or this program handles A, B, and C, then they will feed into D, E, and F, because there's a lot of duplication. And sometimes duplication is good because it may be this program for this particular kid as opposed to that program for another type of child. But I think that we need to be more, systematic in the services that we're giving kids.
But are we working on that as a community, and how are we doing it?
Well, through what we call in our Brotherhood of Peace, Sisterhood of Love initiative, I had asked the community to drop their logos and their links to their websites if they wanted to be a part of this little ecosystem, right? So a lot of people did. So now we're trying to take that information, like she's saying, and see what do you do, what are you willing to do, and then how can we do it together? So then it'll be that ABC she talked about. That's why when she said it, I'm like, oh, that's why we ask for this information. Because I just move out in purpose and what God tells me to do. Sometimes I don't know exactly how we're going to get to the end game. I know we're going to get there. So now we have, it was like 20, 30 businesses and nonprofits, and one of them today just dropped, they all the way in Boston. So I'm like, oh, okay, now we're having a national reach because it's just not local. So now how do we pull all this stuff into one? And locally, like she's saying, if she goes and she has a low-level offender or he's not an ATD, or ain't that one of the things they got in there, alternative detention, youth versus
like a diversion.
Then we'll know, okay, diversion courts, we're going to send them here, but these people are automatically going to work with them. Anybody that's in ATD, they need a different approach. So as it relates to courts, that's kind of how we're going to set up our umbrella, and I'll speak to y'all. That's kind of what I was going to speak to you guys about. It's just organically growing. And then you guys, you got so many different programs that we can feed youth into, but like you said, where does the funding come in? So I'm on some build it and it'll come. Like build it out and then it'll take care of itself. Somewhere organically God is going to support the idea because that's where it came from, for me anyway. So that's kind of where we at with that, and that's what that looks like. Another month or two, you'll see it start to
really blossom,
grow, take root, and then blossom. Because there's a lot of people reaching out and they're sending logos every day, links to their websites, and what we created from that was, let me see if I can find it, was little logos like this where you have so many different organizations that signed up, and then now we take that and we say, okay, Arbor Youth, we know what you guys do. Rima Word, we know what you guys do. Project Ricochet, we know what you guys do. And now we start to create those specialized. Okay, are you willing to hire one person or do a internship? So at least now they can go in and get some skills and some trainings that even if you can't hire them, you're giving them the skills to be hireable. So those are what I'm going to challenge each business that I see on here with. Each nonprofit organization, I'm going to challenge them with programming. What does that look like? How does someone get into your programming, and so on and so forth?
When you know your who and why, you know what demographic you want to serve. You need to be able to articulate why you want to serve that particular demographic. Then you start identifying your collaborating agencies, programs, so that you can have a network from your program into collaborators with you.
Absolutely.
Because it's about a holistic, approach to juveniles. You want to treat the whole person so that they become a productive member of society as an adult, because that's what we all want at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
So,
I like it.
Well, this is really good work, and it's exciting because I know that you're on the task, and so it's going to get done. So I can't wait to be a part of it. And so you just tell me how Project Ricochet can assist you with this vision, and we'll take it from there.
All right.
The other piece to it is, Judge, is that, what does it mean to be a public servant?
So I think for me, I tell people all the time, being a judge is not who I am, it's what I do. So a public servant means that you care about the community in which you live. I care about where I live. I don't live in some, house up on a hill. I go to the same church. I live in the same neighborhood. I go to the same grocery store. And I would be, if we don't start fixing the issues and the ills in our community, I could very well be a victim, just like somebody's mom or sister, and I have been the victim of crime. So, I being a public servant means that you want to be a part of the solution. I don't want to just sit there and say, well, that's a problem, somebody else fix it. I want to be a part of the solution to the extent that I can in my position.
Absolutely. It is truly an honor that you have taken the time to come in here to WUKY and to the Ricochet Effect podcast and to be with Project Ricochet and Voyage Movement in this way. It really, truly is, because
so
we know that you're busy and we know that you could spend your time anywhere. You could be literally poring over a brief or working on a case or working on your load, your caseload, so forth and so on. And so I cannot even express from the depths of my soul just how much I appreciate you and how much we appreciate you.
Let me just tell you that I am humbled that you asked me. Truly, truly I am.
You're not getting invitations all the time? What is wrong with you, world?
It's not that I'm not getting invitations, but something, there are plenty of people out there that you could ask to come in here and have a voice in this space. And you asked me, so I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, Terry.
And so then in terms of, you kind of talked a little bit about your motivation, your upbringing, but what inspires you at the end of the day to keep going? Folks, I just want you to understand, you cannot see what's going on in this podcast, and you may not be able to feel it from a physical standpoint, but when you are even in the realm of physical space with this beautiful woman who stands like a sequoia tree, you just really feel the energy and the passion for life. So what inspires you to keep going every day?
I love my job. I truly, truly love my job. And I don't think that, it's not saying that I don't get frustrated or challenging some days, but I truly love my job. And that to me is motivation enough to keep going.
Preach. My first preach.
And what about you? What inspires you to work with amazing community partners like the Fayette County District Court?
I don't know if it's an inspiration more than just being in your purpose place. And I'm humbled that they even consider an individual like me. I mean, I think it speaks a lot to the work that's been put in consistently.
What do you mean a person like you?
I mean, they want to kick us out of schools because we got felonies, and they feel like, we're not qualified to come in. And
but that makes you the most qualified.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I know.
Because you're trying to prevent children from going down the same road.
Well, that's how they introduced us into the schools, and then that's how they're kicking us out. So when I'm sitting in rooms with judges and county attorneys and mayors even, and they value what I have to say, I'm like, whoa. It's humbling, and it lets me know how far, I've come. And I am who I think I am. You know what I mean? I am who I say
validated.
I am. Yeah, in a way, it's validation, but it's also confirmation. Like, no, keep going. Like, this is real. Because sometimes I tell people, pinch me, because I think I'm going to wake up in this bunk. Like, hey, I just had an amazing dream. I don't know. So, because that's how life has been lifing for me, and I really appreciate every community partner, anybody who's ever embraced me and what I've tried to do for the community, because that's what it's about. So
every day that you wake up, it's a new day.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
You can truly say, I'm not where I was. God, I'm not where God is going to take me, but I'm on a positive journey.
Yes.
And it's all about, to me, it's all about making an impact on somebody every day, no matter how small.
Yes. That's what we do when we wake up every day. So,
are there any final words of inspiration that either of you would like to leave with us today?
Just know that there's programs out there for parents. There's hope. Don't give up on your children. The juvenile court system is not going to fix your children. We did not break them. But there is help to help you get your children on the right path. And I just don't think there are children who do bad things, but I don't think there are any bad children. They just make poor decisions. Some of them are horrific. Some of them, believe it or not, there are some instances where you may not be able to come back from some of the choices that you've made. But for the majority, there is a way back. And so we're there to try to make sure, again, that we are helping develop productive adults.
Well, thank you
Yes, thank you
so much for being
coming.
here.
Thank you for having me again. I
Amazing.
appreciate it.
We have come to the end of another amazing episode of The Ricochet Effect. I am Dr. Abini El-Amin, and I'm in studio with...
The one and only Terry Dunford.
And it has been our extreme pleasure to bring you the leanings and the learnings of this topic of elevating our youth in the community, but all in community. So vitally important. I leave with you a very, very important theme for Project Ricochet and our state. We are stronger together. Kentucky. Take care. Go well.
Peace.
Yeah. It's the Ricochet Effect.